Chapter 1. The spark at the bar, Rika Takahashi, was the kind of woman who lit up a room the moment she walked in. With a laugh that could echo down the streets of Shinjuku, she was the life of every gathering. She worked in PR for a fashion company, spending her days immersed in trends and her nights bouncing between the city's most exciting spots. She was at her favorite bar in Ibisu, chatting animatedly with her coworkers over yakitori and highballs. That's when she noticed him. Across the room, a tall foreigner with dark brown hair and a quiet smile sat at the bar, fumbling slightly as he tried to order in Japanese. His accent was terrible, but endearing. "Excuse me," he said, trying to ask for another drink, but his words tangled. Rika smirked, standing up and making her way over. "You just asked for another yesterday. I think you meant beer." He looked up, eyes widening before he laughed. "Damn, Japanese is harder than I thought." She tilted her head. "How long have you been in Japan?" "A year," he admitted. And still butchering the language, she grinned. "What's your name, sensei?" "Ryan Carter," he said, offering a hand. "English teacher, and you?" "Rika," she said, shaking it firmly. "Your Japanese may be terrible, but don't worry. I like a challenge." Chapter 2. The first date a week later. They met again, this time by chance at a tiny coffee shop in Daikanyama. "What are the odds?" Ryan mused as he sat across from her. Rika smirked. "Maybe fate wants us to have coffee together." The conversation flowed easily, filled with cultural mix-ups, funny teaching stories, and Rika's love for travel. But just as Ryan was about to suggest they go out properly, Rika's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and sighed. "Work emergency," she said, standing up. "I have to go." Ryan watched her leave, feeling a strange mix of disappointment and curiosity. Was she interested, or was she just being friendly? He wasn't sure, but he knew one thing. He wanted to see her again. Chapter 3. The unexpected confession. Ryan finally gathered the nerve to ask Rika out. To his relief, she agreed without hesitation. They met at a tiny rooftop bar overlooking Tokyo Tower, and for the first time, he got to see her in a different light. Not just the confident, outgoing woman, but someone who also carried a quiet loneliness beneath her laughter. "Tokyo can be the most exciting city in the world," she said, gazing at the lights. "And still feel empty sometimes," Ryan nodded. "I know what you mean. I love it here, but some days, it's like I'm still just a visitor." She turned to him, eyes playful but serious. "So, Ryan Carter, are you planning to stay? Or is this just a stop on your way somewhere else?" The question caught him off guard. "I don't know yet." Rika's face faltered slightly, but she quickly covered it with a smirk. "Well, figure it out before you fall in love with someone here." Ryan didn't say it aloud, but he already knew. He was falling for her. Chapter 4. The cultural divide dating an American was different from what Rika was used to. He was direct, open with his feelings, always saying exactly what was on his mind. She, on the other hand, was used to unspoken emotions, quiet gestures, the delicate dance of Japanese relationships. One night, after a particularly bad day at work, she was distant, replying to his texts with short answers. Ryan called her. "Rika, what's wrong?" "Nothing," she said automatically. He sighed. See, automatically, he sighed. "See, that's the difference. When you say nothing, I feel like it means everything." She was silent for a moment, then softly she admitted, "I'm just tired. Work is stressful." "Then let me be there for you," he said. "Even if it's just to listen." She exhaled, something inside her softening. Maybe love wasn't about understanding everything perfectly. Maybe it was about trying. Chapter 5. The ex who came back. Just when things were going well, Rika's ex-boyfriend, Satoshi, reappeared. "We should get coffee," Satoshi suggested when they ran into each other. "I miss talking to you." It was harmless, right? A simple coffee with someone from her past. But when Ryan found out, his face darkened. "Rika, are you still in love with him?" she frowned. "Of course not. But I can't just pretend he never existed." Ryan ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. "I get it. But I don't want to be a placeholder for something you're not over." For the first time, Rika saw something rare in him, insecurity. "I chose you as you, Ryan," she said firmly. Not him. That was all he needed to hear. Chapter 6. The visa problem. Just as their relationship deepened, Ryan received unexpected news. His work visa was expiring soon, and he had to decide whether to renew or go back to the U.S. Rika's heart clenched. She'd always thought she had time. "Are you leaving?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ryan looked at her, eyes filled with a mixture of fear and love. "That depends. Would you want me to stay?" She wanted to scream yes, but her fear held her back. What if he stayed and later regretted it? So she said the hardest thing she'd ever said. "Ryan, you should do what's best for you." Chapter 7. Love in the Rain. The night before his visa decision, Tokyo was drenched in rain. Rika sat in her apartment, staring at her phone, her heart warring with itself. Then her phone rang. "Come outside," Ryan said. She grabbed an umbrella and rushed out. Ryan stood in the downpour, soaking wet but grinning. "I renewed my visa," her breath caught. "Why? Because I love you," he said, stepping closer. "And I'm not done writing this chapter of my life with you." Tears blurred her vision. Then, without thinking, she dropped the umbrella and kissed him. Rain washing over them, Tokyo's neon lights shimmering in the background. Epilogue. A love that stayed a year later. Ryan wasn't just teaching anymore. He was starting his own English tutoring business in Tokyo. Rika, still the outgoing force of nature she had always been, now had someone who matched her energy, who challenged her, who stayed. As they walked through the streets of Shinjuku, hand in hand, Ryan squeezed her fingers and smirked. "So, still think foreigners don't stay?" Rika laughed. "No, but I also think fate knew what it was doing when it put you in that bar a year ago." And just like that, they walked on. Together, through the heart of Tokyo, through whatever came next. The end.